Beta, how are you? I hope everyone will be fine, fit and fine. So today we will have to start new chapter, the chapter number 7. You can ask that why chapter 6 is not there. Earlier we had completed chapter 5. In the chapter 5 what we have done? Morphological features in flowering plants, where we have done only inflorescence and floral parts. And then we have done floral formula, floral diagram in that chapter 5. In that chapter 7, that is also lengthy chapter, but again, now what portions, number of portions are there deleted by CBSE. Only one portion is left, and just you have to open your book and see in chapter 7 and see this one. First in the content is that main points are written here. You will see that here animal tissues, organ and organ system, earthworm, cockroach, frogs. Earthworm and frogs already that is deleted on 4-5 years back, but it is a book is old one that is not reprinted, so now then that will be included, but only cockroach is there. So in this chapter, organ system and organ system and cockroach, CBSE deleted. So now then only what we have to do, animal tissue. In this chapter we have to do only animal tissue, and that animal tissue already in class 9th also you have done, but only the names are same, but some more details are there. So we will see in this chapter number 7 we have to study in your syllabus only animal tissue. Okay, animal tissues, this is your topic. So before this topic we have to structural organization. As you know, in classification we have done cellular level, tissue level, organ system level. We have done this one. So now here when we talk about the what is the how that will our body is or in animal body is made up of, means that is a cellular level, or that we are just moving to the topmost. Already we have done a classification. So mostly with the structure means each and every animal body cells made up of cells, right? And then those cells are combined together with a similar kind of the definition of this tissue that is similar group of similar kind of cells performing specific function, means this is the definition of tissue. A group of that tissues are group of similar kind of cells, same type of cells are combined together, and then they are doing some specific function. So that group of tissue cells are called, that group of cells is called tissues, right? So we see first of all how many types of tissues are there, what way they are attached, what are their functions, a different type of. So we will go in the first of all we'll go to the types of, right? So mainly in animal tissues are two types. These two are, one is simple, or you can say first of all here simple, not simple, we can here we will write some epithelial in your syllabus, epithelial tissue or epithelium. Second one, connective tissue. All that these names already you have done in class 9th. Connective tissue. Third one, that will be nervous tissue or muscle. Third one, muscular tissue or muscle tissue. And fourth one, nervous tissue. Right? These are the main 4 types of tissues are there which we have to study in this chapter. So first we will take first of all one by one. There are total 4 types of tissue. First of all, definition of tissue, a group of similar kind of cells performing a specific function. That is the definition of tissue. When we talk about in animals, because the chapter in animals, not in plants, the plant tissue, that is a chapter is deleted by CBSE. So now then only we have to do animal tissue. So now then animal tissue, there are 4 types: is epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue and nervous tissue. And now then we will come to the first of all epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue means that is a, first we talk about that is a epithelial tissue, that is a covering epithelial tissue is a covering, means it will be cover any body parts, whether they are internal parts or suppose stomach is the inside our stomach lining is made up of epithelial tissue, right? Our skin, that is the outer covering, is that is a epithelial tissue. So what we will see here in epithelial tissue, the cell which has a free face, means one side they are free, whether that free side towards to the environment, just like skin one side is free and this side is facing to the environment, right, outer environment, and it may be sometime that cell having free face of free side that will be facing towards the body fluid. As I am telling you about stomach lining is in alimentary canal in body, stomach is there, so stomach lining is there towards the body fluid. Suppose when we talk about alimentary canal, suppose there is a food pipe and then come to this stomach, right, like this stomach. So this is in the lining. This will be present in the body coelom. So now then that lining is facing towards this, means this and this free side faces to the body fluid inside, when that will be internal organ. So now then each and every epithelial tissue that is having a lining or covering, now that will be one side is free and that side or that face either towards the environment or towards the body part, right? As I am giving example of this skin, that skin outer covering facing to the environment. When we talk about internal organ or stomach lining towards the body fluid. So now this is the main definition you can say about epithelium, right? So now then we will talk about the types of. So mainly these epithelial tissues are two types. Mainly these are two types. What are these two types? That will be, first one is called simple epithelium. Simple epithelium, and that is called compound epithelium. Means we can divide on the basis of the number of layers, on the basis of the cell layers. We have divided in simple and compound. When we say here in simple, when we talk about simple, only very single cell layer, single cell layer, means only one layer is formed. That layer is formed by cells and that cells is a single layer. So now that is made up of only single cell layer. That is called simple tissue. Now then that function is mainly absorption, secretion, diffusion, and these are the functions done by or performed by these simple tissue or simple epithelial tissue. When we talk about a compound means many, that is a many layers, many cell layers, means that is only single. Here many, made up of many cell layers, right? Many cell layers, then they are forming, that is a compound tissue. The main function of this compound tissue, that will forming a number of layers are there, it means that will become thick. So now that layer is called, that function is mainly protection. Now that will protect the body parts and where that will present. So now then these are the epithelial tissue having two types, simple and compound. Simple based on the single cell layer and compound made up of many cell layers. So now just come to the simple cell layer. In simple cell layer, again there are three types. Simple epithelial tissue, there are three types mainly. Otherwise we will see that one. First one is squamous. That is called squamous tissue. Have you heard this name? In class 9th you have done squamous cell. Now second one is called cuboidal cell, right? And third one is known as columnar cell, right? These are. And when we talk about a special cell, one more cell we can add here, that is, I know that will be special cells, we can say special or specialized cells. So now here what is on the basis of the shape, on the basis of the shape of the cell, we have divided squamous, cuboidal, columnar. As here squamous cell is a flattened cell. Squamous is flatten. Means here that is a flattened cell. Flatten and irregular boundaries. Irregular boundaries means these are, suppose these are cells are squamous tissue. When you see, then these are the flattened cells like this, and then here irregular flattened cell, irregular boundaries are there. So now these are squamous tissue or squamous epithelial tissue that is mainly present, that is a lining of blood vessel, where these are squamous tissues that present where in the lining of a covering of blood vessels and air sacs of lungs. Air sacs of lungs means that is a squamous tissue, flattened tissue. These are flattened, right? These flattened tissue and irregular boundaries. Flattened tissue, irregular boundaries. Now function, that is a function, that is a characteristic. This is function. Function, that is a lining of blood vessels and air sac. So what they will do? Means they are present in the lining of a covering of blood vessels and air sac. So the main function is, that is diffusion. Means that is that will become the surface for the diffusion. So breathing, gaseous exchange through diffusion. Blood vessel, blood is there, they will also doing the gaseous exchange. In air sacs, blood exchange, air exchange or gaseous exchange, means that is function is diffusion. Main function is, we can write here, main function is diffusion. Right. So see this one. What are these? Are characteristic of these squamous tissue: flattened cell, irregular boundary with irregular boundary, flattened cell, chapti. The flattened cell, irregular boundary, and irregular boundary means that that is not a pattern, systematic pattern in that boundaries of these tissues. These are present where? That is the lining of blood vessels and air sacs, lining of air sacs of lung. The main function is diffusion, diffusion of gases, diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide, because that is present in lungs and vessels. Right. So this is about the squamous tissue. Now come to we will talk cuboidal tissue. Cuboidal tissue, as the name indicate, cuboid shape. Means when the cells of this tissue is a cuboid shape. Now then these are like this. Means these are forming cuboidal shape, cube shape, or also you can say. Right. Now then, that is a characteristic feature, that is that having the cuboid shape. Now then that these are present in the lining, that is a lining, or it is making a covering of the tubule duct. Means these tissues are present in the lining of duct and tubule. Tubule, specialty duct and tubule mainly which one? That is nephron. In class 10th you have done nephron. Then in excretion, the nephron having the long tubule-like structure, proximal tubule and distal tubule. You have done PCT and T, means just you remember that tubule-like structure like this. That they are here. In this excretion also, in class 11th also, again you have to do. So then that is this is called DCT, this is called PCT in nephron. So then that is a distal convoluted tubule. Distal convoluted tubule. That is called proximal convoluted tubule. This one. So the lining of these lining is made up of this cuboidal tissue. Right. So now then the function is that again that can be absorption, and that is absorption. You can say that here absorption and secretion. Sometimes they are secreting, sometimes they are absorbing. So the main function is then absorption and secretion. Function is absorption and secretion. Right. So now then sometimes that in this part of this PCT, in these lining is having some small villi like structure. In case of in class 10th you done in digestion, in small intestine finger like folds are there, and that is called villi. Now then in that case in PCT, in this tubule like nephron, that is a very fine hair like structure, and that is called microme, is more smaller than villi which are present in intestine. So now then that is called, that will be microvilli. Now that will be present in that tissue, cuboidal tissue. Third one, when we talk about the third one, columnar tissue. That columnar tissue, these are the longer tissue, means that will be column like, that name is given column, means these are like this, and at the base nuclei is present at the base. This is a columnar epithelium. In that the nuclei is present at the base. Now then that will be, these are present in the alimentary canal also. Sometimes these are having cilia or hair like may specialized I have written at that time, this is called ciliated. When in columnar tissue hair like structure present, then it is called ciliated epithelium. Again it will be the parts of this columnar part, a hollow part of our body parts in alimentary canal, that is also present. Now then here this ciliated, especially in that say hair like structure, that hair like or ciliated epithelium is present mainly, this one is mainly present in bronchioles, respiratory system part, and second one they are present in fallopian tube, or you can say oviduct, fallopian tube. Why it will be so? Other that will be that columnar tissue and alimentary canal is there. Now but that will be present here in that, what does it ciliated cilia, they can move cilia like this, means here they can move the particles whatever present, that will move forward to the in a specific direction where they should go. Means that in the bronchioles particles are there, in hair like in bronchioles are here, you can say primary bronchus and bronchioles and bronchi. Now these are having, because then some particles if they are present in there, that will move away by the ciliary movement. In the same in a fallopian tube, egg is there and egg have to move, and now because of that ciliary movement of this ciliated epithelium, then that will be moved to forward. So now these are means where some particles move away, maybe this direction or this direction. So then that will be these ciliated epithelium present there. So now then, and that is present in alimentary canal also, hollow part, you can say hollow body organs, then these columnar tissue is present. It is giving also strength also, and that is epithelial lining is there, that will be protection point of view also. So now then again when we talk about specialized, this one ciliated, one more specialized tissue is there, and that is glandular. What is it called? Glandular. Means sometimes sometimes these cells are means that will be this tissue that will be making converting into glands, and now they are secreting some whatever that secretion that will be, but their secreting function is secretion. Now those are called glandular epithelial. When any epithelial tissue will be meant for the secretion, so that is called glandular tissue. In that glandular tissue, there are two types of glandular tissue. One is the unicellular, and that second one the compound or multicellular. When we talk about unicellular, means suppose that is a number of cells are there, and single cells will also be able to produce secretion. Now that only these single cells are there, and these single cells are able to produce secretion. Now that whatever enzymes, sometimes another number of other chemicals are there which are being secreted by. So now then that time it is called unicellular gland. And multicellular means when the cluster of, means number of cells combined together, and they are doing the part of secretion. They are doing the job of secretion. Now then, here that when you can say clusters of cells. Right? These are clusters of cells. Those are doing the job of secretion. So that is called multicellular. Right? Multicellular glandular epithelium. Unicellular glandular epithelium and multicellular glandular epithelium. Means these are two types. Okay, so now then we will see that example of this. The unicellular example is the goblet cells. Goblet cells in alimentary canal, in human being. Right, goblet cells. That is a made up of unicellular epithelium, or they are secreting enzyme. Now in multicellular, that is a salivary gland. What is it? Salivary gland. Or that is also secreting enzymes. So that is a cluster of salivary glands, cluster of cells which are present here. These salivary glands. So now then that is a glandular epithelium, two types, unicellular and multicellular. And then that example of unicellular, goblet cells of, you can write here cell also, goblet cell in alimentary canal. And this multicellular, the cluster of cells are there, number of cells are there, and they are secreting enzyme, and that time it is called multicellular glandular epithelium. And the example is salivary glands, just near the jaw, below the jaw, it is present in human being. Now then when we talk about the one more cell on the basis of the pouring secretion, in what way they are secreting their, or they are pouring their secretion in the body. Then that the two types of the glandular cell, these are also glandular, but these are two types of on the basis of the pouring secretion. Now these are, what is there? Exocrine and have you heard exocrine? Endocrine gland. Glandular epithelium, exocrine and endocrine. Exocrine and endocrine glands, or glands or glandular tissue. Now I told about this on the basis of, what I am telling? On the basis of the pouring, of the manner in which they are pouring their secretion in body where they require. So that on the basis of that we are calling it exocrine and endocrine. What are that? Means that is exocrine. First we'll come to the exocrine. Exocrine, they are having duct with tubular part, or they have a tubular body. Means they are secreting through, whatever they are secreting are pouring through the pipeline, just like a artery, blood vessels, artery and veins. And the same also having that is a glandular part, or they have duct. These glands have duct. Or these are endocrine, these are ductless, endocrine. A-N-D-O, endocrine. Right, and now then these are, that is ductless. Right, it is means without duct. Endocrine without duct, or exocrine have duct. Second difference we can say, the secretion of this exocrine gland or glandular tissue, that is called enzyme. That is called enzyme. And secretion of this endocrine gland is called hormones. What is it called? Have you heard this hormones? Hormones. Right, these two are glandular. These are also, one is glandular cells are unicellular, multicellular. When we had given the example of goblet cells of alimentary canal in human being, and I had given this second one, multicellular glandular epithelium. I had given the example of salivary glands in human being also, and other insects also. Then cockroaches also having salivary gland. Now then the secretion, then second base is there, the manner in which they are pouring their secretion. So they are pouring the secretion in that they are having duct, or through duct they are pouring there. In that no duct, ductless glands are there, and then directly they are, that is open secretion you can say, directly pouring their secretion in the body parts, in the body organs. So now then that is open secretion. Now here the secretion of exocrine gland is called enzyme, and secretion of endocrine gland is called hormones. Right, so the exocrine gland, when we talk about exocrine gland, you know, in your body, stomach cells, pepsin enzyme is secreted. You know, pepsin has HCl also, mucus also, 3 secretions are there. 10th, you know, you have done digestive system. So then that will be all they are gastric glands, which are lining, inner lining of stomach, that is your gastric glands. So example of these are, you can say, gastric glands. Those are secreting enzyme. When we talk about endocrine glands, so the endocrine glands are the pancreas. Pancreas, they are secreting hormone insulin, right? Gastric glands, they are secreting enzyme pepsin, right? And here that is a pancreas, and that pancreas secreting hormone insulin, right? One more interesting feature of this pancreas. Pancreas is known as endocrine as well as exocrine. Means that is a endocrine also and exocrine also. Means that will be, that is a pancreas, they are secreting insulin hormone, so we are calling it endocrine. Pancreas is also secreting trypsin. Again, come to recall your 10th class digestive system. In that we have seen that pancreas secreting trypsin, a lipase also, trypsin and lipase, some other secretion also, but in class 10th also only done, you have done trypsin and lipase. So then I am telling you about only that example. So now then pancreas secreting trypsin and lipase enzymes, these both are enzymes. Now that's why that is known as exocrine gland. And when they are secreting hormone, then it is called endocrine. So you know that pancreas is known as exocrine gland as well as endocrine gland, right? So this is about the epithelial tissue, where we have seen mainly 2 types, simple and compound. Single cell layer, it is called simple, and many cell layer, it is called compound. These are squamous, cuboidal, columnar on the basis of the shape. Now that is squamous, cuboidal and columnar. Now that specialized cells are there, that is ciliated and glandular. In the ciliated having cilia are there. When the columnar tissue or epithelial having cilia, then it is called ciliated epithelium. Now the glandular tissue, when we talk, when they are secreting, now then they are secreting some secretions, that is called glandular epithelium. Glandular epithelium, 2 types, unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular is a goblet cells, multicellular salivary glands. Now then on the basis of the secretion, the way of pouring their secretion, that is called exocrine, endocrine. In that exocrine, they have got duct, that is a closed, and then through duct they are pouring their secretion or enzyme. Here you can say endocrine ductless, no duct is there, open, so directly they are pouring their hormones in the body organs. So now this is the epithelial tissue. Now see then here how they are interconnected, because you know that all animal tissue, they are compactly arranged together without leaving a very less intercellular space between 2 cells, that is compactly arranged. So how these are arranged? So then that will be, because they are arranged, they are forming, that is a, you can say, then a strong wall they are making. So now then how that will be? So then how they will be holding together all these cells together, because a group of cells are there, and these group of cells are how they are interconnecting to each other through the junctions. So in that way, in all tissues, not only epithelial tissue, all tissue cells are holding together, and that by the 3 types of junctions, right? So then these 3 types of junctions, which will be capable to hold junctions, there are mainly 3 types of. That 3 types of junction, that is a tight junction, tight junction, then adhering, and third one gap. Means tight junction, adhering junction, and third one is gap, adhering. Now what does it mean? As you know, the word is tight. Tight means they are attached together, tightly close together. Means if 2 cells are arranged, so then they are not giving any chance for leakage. Means through that nothing can cross. Right? That is called tight junction. Nothing means because they are closely compact. When we talk about adhering, the two neighboring cells means suppose these cells are there, here these cells are there. So all these cells are just attached like the cementing, means they are closely packed with some material, and that is called cementing. So now the cementing again, that is things cannot cross the boundary. Whatever their things are present here, that will be remain here. What is there, that will be remain here. Now third one is the gap. Gap is the name. Gap means leaving space. Means some cells are having some gap between two cells. We suppose this one and this one. These cells are here leaving them some space. Through that space, the things can transfer. Means when the two cells they have to interconnected and when to have to interact. Interact means for the transport of materials and nutrients. So that can move through this gap only. Otherwise, it cannot pass through this. Right? So these are the three types of junctions which will holding the all cells together, and then tight, adhering, and gap. That is tightly closed. Here the cementing is there. Number of neighboring cells are together. Now third, that they are having the space between them, and then they are giving chance to move things or to transport things across together, means from this part to this side. So now then, this is about the only epithelial tissue. In next session, we will do the second tissue, connective tissue. Right? Now then, I hope then you understood that one, and again you will go through that in your book. I have taken everything from your book. What examples I am telling you, that also those are given in your book. I am not going beyond your book, so just go through that. So then it will be that your topic revised if you take reading seriously, reading with understanding. Okay. So till then, next we will have to prepare for next.